Good evening and welcome out to tonight's Tackle Trading Onboarding Webinar. This is Coach Frank. I'll be showing you around the website tonight, letting you know what we're doing, when we're doing it, a little bit about us. So hopefully you can get to know us better if you've recently joined us as a pro member or considering joining us as a pro member. Before we get straight down into business, here this evening, it is May 9th, Monday night, here tonight at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, right here on this YouTube channel. Coach Gino Poor will be doing a special options webinar. It's going to be a really great one. Going to talk, leverage, cash flow, protection, all the good fun things. Well, not all, but lots of the good fun things we can do with option, right? There's a lot of things that we can do with those option contracts. Gino's been at this for a very long time. It's going to be a fantastic webinar. That's tonight at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, right here on this YouTube channel. Hope to see you over there and hope you enjoy it. With that said, let's dive right into business here. To me, really tackle trading is just a group of traders that have come together to share ideas, answer each other's questions, bounce things off of one another, and just kind of have each other's back, right? That's really what we are here, is a community of traders. When I'm explaining tackle trading, though, I like to break it into three different components. The things that you can do on your own, that's going to be courses, blogs, some of the tools that you'll find in our trade center, our trading journals, our playbook, things of that nature. Then things that you can do with others, basically the schedule, what are we doing each market day, with our community. And then lastly, our weekend reports, our tackle newsletter, our stock option commodity reports, where we can share ideas in these areas with our team going into the upcoming trading week. So we'll kind of break it down into those three components here tonight as well. Let's dive on in. Let's start with the things that you can do on your own. And the thing that always comes to my mind, at least when I think about that, is courses. We have a variety of courses available to all of our pro members here at Tackle Trading, including our 7-step guide to trading. This is an introduction into trading the markets and developing a routine and having a plan laid out. If you're a new trader in particular, you'll probably find it very useful. If you've been at this for a while, you might find a couple of things that can make your already existing routine a little more productive. Definitely worth checking out. But certainly if you are a newer trader, I absolutely would make sure to make some time for that 7-step guide to trading. Of course, as traders, we're going to do a heck of a lot of charting, right? We're going to be identifying support, resistance, trend, momentum, slowing momentum, candlesticks, trading patterns, all that fun stuff, right? And the more comfortable and confident we are with that, probably the better. Of course, those are exactly the type of things that we're going to talk about in that Technical Analysis 101 course. Quite honestly, I've never met anybody who was ever perfect at technical analysis. So there's always more to learn. Definitely would encourage everybody to check that one out. And the great thing about technical analysis is we can use it no matter what else, right? What else we like to do. Maybe you like to day trade Forex. Maybe you're a crypto trader. Maybe you're a swing trader. Maybe you like selling out of the money credit spreads. No matter what you like to do, you're going to be using technical analysis. And that's what's so cool about it. We also offer an Options 101 course. And here we're really going to focus on what's going on with that contract. Why does it do the things it does, right? What happens when you buy or sell that call or buy or sell that put option? So and talk a lot about the Greeks, implied volatility, liquidity, all of that fun stuff in that Options 101 course. Not going to talk a tremendous amount about strategies. We'll leave that over to our playbook, and I'll show you that here shortly. But I do really believe that the more we understand why the options move the way they move, the easier it's going to be to pick up any of the different strategies that we're looking to trade using those options. If you've ever had an interest in learning more about the futures or the Forex markets, but not really known exactly where to start, those are, markets, they're a little different, right? In a lot of ways they're the same, but there's definitely their own things going on in those highly leveraged markets. If you've ever had interest in those markets, great place to start is in the 101 series here. I know not everybody wants to trade futures, not everybody wants to trade Forex, and quite frankly, that's fine. That's what's cool about trading. We can trade what we like and not trade what we don't like, right? So you don't have to trade those markets, but certainly you can, right? We all can if that's the route that we want to go, if we want to incorporate that into our overall trading plan. So we've got introductions into both of those markets as well. We also have the system development course. Now, really, no matter who you are and how long you've been trading, what kind of systems and things you do like to trade, what products you trade, I think we all agree that we do need to have clearly designed systems and rules in place governing our actions. I don't think anybody really disagrees with that. It's one thing to say it, another thing to do it, though, right? The System Development 101 course is really designed to help train you to approach your trading from a systematic perspective. It is a fantastic course. I cannot recommend it enough, no matter who you are and what kind of stuff you're doing as a trader. It is a fantastic use of your time. I strongly do believe that. Absolutely check that one out. You'll also notice we have a handful of premium products here at Tackle Trading. These are completed systems. We get together with members of each of these teams once a month in a mastermind group. They are kind of a one-time purchase. The system is yours for life, all of that fun stuff. Just very quickly, so you know what they are, the Tackle 25 is a covered call-based system on a group of stocks that we put together each year with the intent of cash flowing via covered calls or potentially poor boy covered calls. Step system is our approach to swing trading the markets, just stands for stop loss, target, entry, and position size. Cash flow condors, another cash flow system, this time on the Russell 2000s using iron condors or credit spreads. And the bear market survival guide, kind of exactly what it sounds like, kind of protecting ourselves from bearish turns and then navigating those turns, such as we're seeing right now in the market. If you want a little more information on any of those systems, you can easily find it over in the store tab, or feel free to send us an email to team@tackletrading.com, and we'd happy to get some more information or answer any questions that you have in regards to those premium systems. Beyond the courses, we are going to do regular blog content, both in video and written format. These are just additional ways that we can, share ideas or answer questions that our community is bringing up to our attention in one of our shows or over on our Discord or something like that. Whether it's more charting and tales of technician, kind of taking things from the ground up over in the rookie corner, more options in the option theory blog, hearing from our awesome female trading community over in the women in trading blog. These are going to be relatively, small time commitments. You're talking 5-minute reads, 10, 12-minute videos. But again, just another way to reach out, share ideas, or answer questions that our community is having throughout the course of the week. Over in our Trade Center, you'll find a link to our clubhouse, our trading glossary, a link to our trading journals, which we'll talk a little bit more about shortly, as well as a link to the Tackle Trading Playbook. Here in the Tackle Trading Playbook, you're going to find all of our strategies and the rules for those strategies. So this is where you'll find all of the strategies. We break our strategy selection into 3 camps based off of the option Greeks: Delta, Theta, and Vega. Our Delta playbook is our directional playbook. I think we're going from 20 to 25. I think we're going from 100 to 80, from point A to point B, right? So that would include buying and selling stock, of course, but that would also include, long options. That would include debit spreads, diagonal spreads, basically movement-based strategies. Then you're going to have the theta, or the cash flow side, right? This is where we're selling those options and bringing in that premium and taking advantage of the passage of time and potentially the high price of those premiums when volatility is high. That's going to include things like selling naked puts or covered calls. It's going to be credit spreads, iron condors, and the like. And then lastly, the Vega, or the volatility playbook. This is where we're playing our expectations into the volatility. I always think about these strategies during earnings season that we're just kind of wrapping out of, thank goodness. It was, I'm not a huge fan of earnings season personally. We might have a stock that has a history of gapping on earnings. Sometimes it gaps up, sometimes it gaps down, makes big movements, but good luck trying to figure out which one it's going to do this time. Well, maybe I just want to build a trade around the idea that it's going to move a lot one way or the other. At least that's my expectation. Why don't I play a strategy that makes money as long as it does make a big move one way or the other, right? So these are going to be volatility-based strategies. In all of these strategies, there will be a detailed video going, through the whole kind of 9 yards, what the strategy is, why we would choose the strategy, our rules for the strategy, risk to reward, how we would do it, all of that fun stuff. There's also a little downloadable PDF cheat sheet so you can have easy access to those rules as you're getting comfortable with these different strategies. You'll also notice on all of them, we have, kind of a 0 to a plus or a -3. And if you just kind of think about it along a spectrum, 0 is flat neutral, 1 or -1 would be slightly bullish or slightly bearish, 2 or -2 would be bullish or bearish, and then 3 or -3 would be very bullish or very bearish. It's kind of where we see these strategies fitting along those lines. You, of course, always want to match the strategy to your read of the situation, right? If you think it's going to be a fast mover, you might approach it a little bit differently than if you think it's going to be something that slowly grinds up over the course of the next quarter, right? So we always want to match the strategy to our read of the situation. And again, this is just kind of where we see these strategies along those lines. So that is the Tackle Trading Playbook. If you go directly into the Trade Center, this will kind of bring you to a what's up at Tackle Trading page. It'll kind of let you know what's our next show. There's that options webinar with Coach Gino here tonight at 8:30. The link, I can just click on this guy if I need to and get the information to get to the show. Our most recent posts, a little our most recent report, a little watch list that you can build for yourself if you would like to do so. So you don't always have to log into your a secure account if you want to take a look at what the stocks in your watch list are doing. Very easy to do. Say you wanted to add an Apple, we'll just throw that in there. And now I've got Apple in the chart. I'm just going to hit this plus button. That's going to add that to my watch list. If I decide I don't need, Netflix anymore, had enough of you, all I do is select it and now I'll hit that minus and that will get rid of them for me. So kind of a handy thing to have, I think. There will be a replay or a live showing of one of our YouTube shows, a little mini calendar of the upcoming events, where you are in any of the courses that you might be working through. So you can, pick right back up where you left off without having to spend the first 10 minutes. Where exactly did I go? I'm notoriously bad at doing that type of stuff. So just a lot of what's up at Tackle Trading. There's also going to be a variety of trader tools in here as well. There's going to be a link to the market skyline. This is where we're going to have all of the big stuff in one spot, right? So the index futures, the S&P, the Dow, the NASDAQ, the Russell, Bitcoin, the VIX, the emerging markets and all world ETFs, the major commodities such as gold and silver and copper and crude, the sector ETFs. Basically, this is all a big part of that top-down analysis that we imply, here at Tackle Trading, and a big part of our daily and weekly routines. And so I think it's important that we're going through this stuff on a daily basis. It certainly does not have to be on this page. It can be, but it does not have to be. But we just wanted to have a place, a lot of times as traders, we do a lot of bouncing around. And so a couple of things that we've tried to do is save ourselves a little bit of time on the bouncing around side, right? is all. You'll also find a link to the Finvis heat maps here as well. If you wanted to take a look at the Finvis heat map for the S&P 500, for a little bit of a different visual of what the day was, you can easily access that right here. There's a link to a news aggregator, again, really just designed to save us some bouncing around time. This is just going to go through some of the bigger financial websites, right? Wall Street Journal, CNBC, the Times. I imagine if we scroll down a ways, we'll find Market Watch as well. Those tend to be the big four in here. Just kind of gets all the headlines kind of easily processable, right? So I can easily kind of see if there's anything that I want to actually read, right? I could read all of these over, with their respective websites, and that's fine if that's the route I want to go. But again, this is just really designed to save us some bouncing around time, some clicking time, letting us read the stories that we find interesting, and wish the other stories the best, right? You'll find a link to the economic calendar so you can know what's on the economic docket for today or for the upcoming week that could impact your trading. Another link to our market reports, which again, you can find, we'll talk a little bit more about on the drop down up here at the top. A link to the compounding gains calculator, a chart if you ever need one, another link to our glossary. You also have that on the drop down of the Trade Center. Link to our search tool, which you can also find on this little magnifying glass here. The search tool is pretty smart. So if you're ever looking for something, if you want a little more information, on a poor boy covered call or whatever, sometimes the fastest and easiest thing to do is just do a quick search for it. We do have a lot of content, had a lot of discussions on a lot of different things over the years. Never hesitate to ask us if you can't find it, but a lot of times that's the fastest way to do it. You'll also find another link to our trade journals in here. We saw that they were on the drop down of the Trade Center as well. I prefer to come into it through the Trade Center like we're doing so right now, simply because this takes you directly to the tutorial video if you need some help with it. I know I certainly did when I transitioned. I used a kind of a Word document style of journaling for a very long time and was very resistant to going into a more spreadsheet format because I'm not very comfortable with spreadsheets, to be quite honest with you. And so I needed a little bit of help. when I made that jump. And I'm glad I did. It's definitely a lot easier to process it. So if you need a little bit of help, the video is in here. We do have 3 different trade journals. We have the trade journal, which is probably exactly what you're kind of thinking. We need to let it know what we did, when we did it, how much of it we did, right? And it's going to track the rest for us. What was our gain or loss, how long we were in the trade, how long on average are we in a trade, what does our average winning trade make us, how much does our average losing trade cost us, of course, the bottom line. Lots of information that's really important. And the great thing about journaling our trades is every single trade we make is data if we allow it to be so, right? And so if we don't have that data collected, we're not going to be able to do that. With the trade journal, will make sure that you are able to do just that. You'll also find the Theta Research tool. This is where we can build and compare our cash flow strategies, right? We might have 3 credit spreads that we're looking at tonight. Maybe we're looking at 3 bull put spreads tonight, but we only want to trade one tomorrow. Well, how do we choose which one, right? We want to compare them kind of apples to apples and not apples to oranges, right? That's exactly what we're going to be able to do in that Theta Research tool for all of our different cash flow strategies. It's a really fantastic tool if you incorporate cash flow trading into your overall trading plan. And then, of course, the portfolio journal, just to kind of make sure we're staying organized and on top of the big picture, right? For some people, it's pretty easy because they just have a handful of trades going on at any given time. But for other people, they might have 2 dozen long-term positions. They might have half a dozen, stocks that they own specifically to sell covered calls on. They might have a dozen swing trades going on. They might have a lot of trades, right? And everybody's going to be a little bit different there. But the one thing we agree on is we all need to be organized, right? And that portfolio journal is designed to help us do just that. If you come into the trade journals like we just did, just select the tab that you want. You can easily download that directly from this page. Again, you can catch it on the drop down as well. So that's going to kind of wrap up that first area of things that you can kind of do on your own. Hopefully that gives you some of the ideas of the tools we have available and some of the different courses and blogs and what have you. Now let's talk a little bit about the things that you can do with others, the schedule, right? Because most of the time as traders, we're alone, right? As traders, we're usually in our home office or in our office, wherever we trade. We usually are can kind of be lonely, I think, for traders. And we certainly don't have to have it that way. And I don't think those of us here at Tackle Trading ever feel too terribly lonely as traders, because there's always somebody to talk trading with, which is what I love about it. So let's kind of start with the average trading day. Every market morning at 11 a.m. Eastern, we get together in our traders lounge with members of our community, very informal place where we can just get together and bounce ideas around off of one another, answer any questions that our team members might be having, walk them through things if they need to do so, show them how to add cheap insurance if the market's, throwing a fit like it is right now. Lots of fun things that we can do in that traders lounge. It really depends on what our team needs, right? That's exactly what we're going to do every market morning in that traders lounge at 11 a.m. Eastern. We are not going to record every single traders lounge that we do because, quite bluntly, no one's going to go watch one from 3 months ago, right? But we will record snippets fairly regularly and get them placed in here as well. So that's every market morning at 11 a.m. Eastern. Shortly after our traders lounge, we head back over to our YouTube channel at 12:30 p.m. Eastern to do the Tackle Trading halftime report, live looking at the market, working through that top-down analysis, right? That daily routine, looking at our index charts, talking about what's going on in the market today, how it's impacting those charts, what are we looking like for support levels, resistance levels, trend, all of that fun stuff, commodities, sectors, stocks in the news, really the whole 9 yards of staying on top of the market. That's every market day right here on our YouTube channel at 12:30 p.m. Eastern, about the halfway point of the trading day. So we'll definitely be working the markets each day that they're open with members of our community. We also do a lot of things in the after hours as well, starting with our Tuesday night coaches show. On Tuesday nights at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, we do the coaches show. A couple of the coaches will get together and we'll just take one of there's so many topics that we can talk about as traders, right? There's a never ending supply of things to talk about, whether it's trade management, trading a particular pattern like breakouts or flags, or a particular strategy, trading bull calls, a particular set of indicators like moving averages, portfolio design, adding insurance. a million things that we could talk about as traders, right? That we never run out of things to talk about, that's for sure. Well, the Coaches Show allows us to zero in on one of those things each Tuesday night and have a detailed conversation with members of our team about that one thing. Just have that nice in-depth discussion that is recorded and archived. So if you can't make it live on Tuesday nights at 8:30 Eastern, or if you need to go back and rewatch it, or if you're going to want to go watch a previous episode on the subject you find interesting, very easy to do. They're in the archives. That's Tuesday nights, 8:30 p.m. Eastern for the Coaches Show. Thursday nights, also at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, we do our Cash Flow Club. We're going to be a little more narrowly focused on what the name probably gives away, right? On those cash flow strategies, right? Building and managing those cash flow plays. So covered calls and credit spreads and naked puts and condors and the like. We certainly, as a community, I would say, many of us embrace cash flow systems into our trading, and we want to have a place really specifically designed for those type of discussions, right? That, theta traders, just a little different than delta traders, right? We can do both, and I think a lot of us, do, and I think we should. But we want to have a place where we can really just zero in on those cash flowing strategies, both building and managing them. And that's exactly what we can do in the Cash Flow Club. Just like the Coaches Show, it's recorded in archive. So if you can't make it live, if you want to watch a previous episode, very, very easy to do. So that's Thursday. On Wednesdays, we do two different things here at Tackle Trading. I'm going to hop into the events calendar really quick while we have this conversation. At 7 p.m. Eastern, right here on our YouTube channel, we do our Trade Masters webinar on Wednesdays. A couple of the coaches will come together with 3 different trade ideas. Each coach will bring a delta, a theta, and a wild card idea. We'll bounce them off of one another and members of our community in the live stream with us. After each round, our community votes on whose idea they like the best. At the end of it all, somebody is the trade master for the week. It's a lot of fun. What it's really designed to do is to share ideas. By the time we're into the middle of the week, there's a good chance our watch list needs beefed up a little bit, right? Some of the trades we missed, some of them were already in, some of them, never, triggered, some of them whipsawed, right? There's a good chance that sometimes we're going to need a few, new ideas for our watch list to go into the second half of the trading week. And at least in my opinion, there's never a bad way to find a trading idea. So that's 7 p.m. Eastern right here on our YouTube channel. Shortly after that, at 8:30 Eastern, we're going to come back over to Tackle Trading for our Wednesday night Traders Lounge. It's going to be very similar to our morning Traders Lounge. It's really focused on our community and what they need from us. With one little exception, we're just coming out of the Trade Masters webinar. So if members of our team have any questions or want to take a closer look at any of the things that we discussed, of course, we're more than happy to do that. Perhaps your schedule is such that, you're at work, at 11 a.m. Eastern, each market day. Well, maybe you can get into that Wednesday night lounge, ask, for help if you need it, get to know some other traders, get some ideas. We wanted to make sure that, we had a place for folks that maybe couldn't make that morning lounge on a regular basis. So that's Wednesday nights, also, again, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. On Mondays, we do a couple of different things. We do this onboarding webinar for anybody just checking us out or just joining us for the first time. No two are tremendously different from one another. About every other Monday, we do a special webinar, such as the one we're doing here tonight on options with Coach Gino at 8:30. That's about every other week that we do that special webinar here on YouTube. We also tend to meet up with members of these different systems that I brought up a little earlier, the Tackle 25 and so forth, in their mastermind groups. We invite all of our pro members, whether or not they are members of those teams, have purchased the Tackle 25 or the step system or whatever. We invite all of our pro members to join us in those discussions. Tonight, the Tackle 25 mastermind group going on right now. As a matter of fact, as we speak, next week, it'll be one of the other mastermind groups. So even if you if you haven't picked up any of those systems, that's fine. No, as a pro member, you are always welcome to join us in those discussions, learn a little bit, see if you want to take a closer look at the system, hang out with some other traders, whatever the case might be. So that tends to be on a Monday night. They're a little more open-ended than things like the Coaches Show and the Cash Flow Club. We're pretty regimented. They do tend to be on Monday nights, but sometimes schedules do, get in the way of all of us, right? So, but that tends to be the Monday night. So, Monday's not quite as regimented as the rest of the week, but we will certainly be with the team, whether it's here on YouTube in one of our mastermind groups, both. So, we'll definitely be here with you. So, that's kind of what the schedule looks like in an overly simplified way to think about it. You can kind of think about it as the lounge is really designed for the team's questions and the team's needs, right? It's not really about what I want to talk about today or what Coach Mark wants to talk about today or whoever's doing the lounge. It's about what our team needs us to talk about today. So it's really all about our team and their questions. The halftime report is really all about that daily routine, staying on top of things, right? Working through the markets one step at a time. And then the evening shows are really more that deep dive, a little more educational type of content. And while that is an overly simplified way to put it, because there's always going to be a little gray area, right? Maybe that can help you kind of stay a little bit organized as you get to know us a little bit. As I mentioned a little earlier, we have a tremendous team of female traders with us here at Tackle Trading that'll get together about once a month in their Women in Trading Mastermind group. This month is going to be on the 20th. I can't really tell you firsthand what goes on in that group, but I do know the team. I know our community, and I have no doubt that they're getting some good work done in there and probably having a good time doing it. If you are a woman in trading, or if you know a woman in trading, I would definitely encourage you to take part in that. I think you'll have a great time and learn as well. Always a good combination. It does tend to be towards the end of the month, and we'll always make sure that we promote it. But I can't tell you exactly what happens in there, right? So, and that's okay. So that's kind of what the schedule is going to look like. As you're kind of getting to know us, the events calendar can be really helpful in finding the links. What's the next show? How do I get to the darn thing? Oh, just click on it. There's a link. You're good to go. As you get to know us, it can be a pretty helpful way to go about it. We will also send the lineup with all of the links and everything in our daily email. We'll kind of talk about that here as we're wrapping up as well, kind of show you how to get that if you would like to do so. But let's talk about that third component, and that is our weekend reports, our newsletter, stock options, and commodity reports. Each week on Fridays, what we're doing here is coaches, we're getting together in what we call our scouting report meeting. In that meeting, we're talking markets, we're talking commodities, we're talking sectors, we're talking swing trade setups. And out of that meeting comes our weekend report. So we get delivered to our team by Saturday afternoon, so they have plenty of time to go through them before the market opens back up. The Tackle newsletter is, again, we're big proponents of that top-down approach, right? You start at the top of the market and you work your way down. That's exactly what we're doing each week in the newsletter with Coach Gino. We'll kind of talk about the week that was, what happened, what were the themes and the storylines going on, right? Talk about some sectors, of course, look at the upcoming earnings, the economic calendar for the upcoming week. Of course, we'll have a video kind of talking you through this stuff in here. Where are the overall markets, be it the S&P, the Dow, the NASDAQ, the Russell. Take a look at the market internal indicators. It's going to look at over 8,000 stocks, so we can kind of get a better look under the hood, if you will. When you're looking at an index like the S&P 500, for example, the way those things are weighted is some companies have a lot more representation than others, right? Things like Apple and Amazon and Google and Tesla, these companies are huge. And so that's fine. It is what it is. That's not a bad thing, but sometimes they can give us not quite the total picture. And so that's what we're looking at here with the internals in the market. We're going to be ranking the sectors based off of what we're seeing on the stocks within the sectors each week as well. In our gridiron here, we are going to use the sector Spyder ETFs. You'll find them down here. If you're unfamiliar with them, in a nutshell, what they're going to do is say XLY is discretionary, XLI is industrial. We'll go with that one for fun. XLI is the sector Spyder Industrial ETF. What it does is going to pull out all of the stocks that are classified as industrial in the S&P 500 and only the stocks that are classified as industrial in the S&P 500, weighted accordingly, and put those into a portfolio. So we're getting a more isolated look at just the industrials versus just the staples, right? Staples, a lot stronger than industrials right now, a lot stronger than technology right now, a lot stronger than most things right now, right? So That's kind of what they are. If you want more information on, who's in them and how they're built and how they're weighted and all of those things, I would always suggest just going to the ETF provider's website. It's just the word sector, spdr.com, and you can find all sorts of information directly from the ETF provider. But we're going to represent the sectors using those, and these are part of our analysis, but certainly not all of it. We're looking at the stocks within them as we're coming up with our rankings. You're going to have our aggressive sectors represented in blue. That's going to be technology, discretionary, and communications. These are what we consider the aggressive sectors. Then the cyclical sectors represented in orange or yellow here, financials, industrials, basic materials, and energy. And then our defensive sectors represented here in purple, healthcare, staples, utilities, and real estate. We're going to be adjusting our rankings each week based off what we see on the stocks within those trends, support, violations, breakouts, all of that stuff is going to go into that decision-making process. We'll talk you through kind of why we did what we did in the video portion of this, of course. As you can kind of see here, we put it on a football field, right? With between the 40s is a neutral rating. Maybe it's a little bit of a skew one way or the other. Between the 40 and the 20 is going to be slightly bullish or bearish, and then between the 20 and the goal line is going to be bullish. If you're a football fan, you know that once you get into the red zone, it's tough to get into the end zone, right? There's a reason that they call it that. It's very unlikely, quite honestly. It's almost to the point where I would say never, but you never say never, right? But it is extremely unlikely you'll ever see us put an entire space into plus or minus 3 territory. It's just more aggressive than we are. That would mean basically everything within that space was just insanely strong. Everything, right? Not even a single outlier, insanely weak or insanely strong. And like I said, I'll never say never, but I'm about as close to never saying never as I ever am. So if that makes any sense. So we're going to spend a lot of time, between the 20s, just like real football. If you're a football fan, you know how much time, teams spend between the 20s, at least as a general rule. So that's kind of the gridiron. It's a big part of what we're doing each week. At the end of our meeting, we do what we call our rapid fire segment, where all of us will just share our favorite setups from our reports and what we like about them, just in a quick rapid fire manner, right? Just a fun way to end the meeting and share some thoughts with the team. You will find a reminder if we are going to have one of our YouTube webinars. You'll find a reminder such as this one right here. You'll also find a link to join our Discord channel. It's an awesome place. If you're a pro member, I certainly encourage you to come on over and join us. Come join us on Discord. It's a great place to be able to bounce ideas around, talk to other traders, get to know other traders, ask for help if you need it. Really great communications tool for sure. It's awesome. It's really, popping pretty much all the time, it seems. A friendly reminder to match the strategy to the situation. A pre-built scanner. So if a particular sector has caught your attention for whatever reason, right? Bullish, bearish, neutral, you like the relative strength of staples or whatever your reasons are, this will just bring you back into finvis.com. I'll just go ahead and go to the staples here. This will bring you to finvis.com, and this will bring up a list of what I personally call trader-friendly stocks. And all I mean when I say that is they're very liquid, so it's very easy to trade shares, very easy to buy shares outright. They're borrowable, so I can go short if that's the route I'm looking to go. They're optionable. Just because something has options doesn't mean those options are super liquid. I would say as a whole, most things within these lists are fairly easy to trade with options, but I would also say that in every single one of them, there are stocks that I would never consider trading options on. But whether it's through equity or through options, I'm going to be able to build a trade if I find something in here that I like. As you can kind of see here, I'm just getting a bird's eye view here of some charts. I can kind of see, if there's anything that stands out. Maybe I like this, Kraft Heinz push and resistance, or SJM here looks like a little bit of a breakout on a cup and handle. I wouldn't try to make a trade off of this little tiny chart, but I can see, interesting chart. I'm interested enough to go look at it in actual trading platform and see if there's something there for me. You don't have to agree with that, right? But really the point is it's very quick and effective ways to kind of scroll through, see if anything stands out and is worth taking a closer look at. in your opinion. So we'll have that for all of the different sectors, of course, in here. Quick world watch, for the all world ETF, the emerging market ETF, the dollar index, as well as some final thoughts. So this is where we all start here, is on the newsletter each week. Then our stock options commodity reports are really where we can share ideas with members of our team in these different areas, right? Coach Mark does our commodity report for us each week, does a great job highlighting, what's going on in the world of commodities, themes that are developing, what the fundamentals are looking like, what the technicals are looking like, ways that we could participate, right? We don't have to trade futures to trade, take part in gold or to trade part in movements in crude oil or copper, things like that. That's one way that we can do so for sure. But there's a lot that we can do through the equity and the options world as well. Coach Mark always does a great job giving some ideas of how we could approach these different markets as well. Our stock and options report are going to be built fairly similar to one another. We want to make sure that our team has an actionable watch list each week, right? No matter what they're trading, right? Just options, just stock, just commodities, all of the above, whatever it is. We want to make sure that we have some actionable trade ideas. So each week we're going to share some of our favorite bullish swing trade setups and some of our favorite bearish swing trade setups in these respective areas. The stock and option report are going to be built very similar in that regard, right? They're swing trading candidates, so breakouts and reversals and pullbacks, right? Both bullish and bearish. Where they are, of course, going to differ is things in the option report are liquid on the option front. A lot of things that we can do, easy to trade those options. Things in the stock report, maybe not so much. That might be why it's in the stock report. Might not be. It might be price or movement or whatever, but it might be. So in the stock report, we're kind of coming at it more from a equity perspective. And the option report, of course, as the name gives away, coming at it more from an options perspective. I mean, there's no rule that says I can't check the liquidity on a setup I find in the stock report. If I would rather trade options on it, I can go look at the liquidity. If it's there, great. I can build my trade. If it's not, oh well, I can trade the shares or I can just pass, right? I'm not going to get stuck in a liquid option or anything like that. They're also going to differ a little bit in our discussion, in the stock report, because we're kind of looking at it from that equity point of view. We're going to be looking at it a little more process oriented, right? Entries and stop loss management and setting targets and all of that fun stuff. In the options report, talk a lot more strategy selection, right? This might make sense for a poor boy covered call. This might make sense to be selling right now with the premium on these options. So I'll talk a little bit more about the strategy selection side. So they will differ from one another in that regard. So kind of the same, but kind of different, right? Everything in the option report, all of the coaches here at Tackle Trading at least are comfortable trading the options on. Never a bad idea to check that liquidity. It's a good habit to get into no matter what you're doing, in my opinion. These charts that are built in through TradingView. Just a couple of quick things that you can do on them. Your trend line tool is going to be right here, where you can draw your trend line, whether it's an actual trend line or a horizontal line, if that's what you're looking to do. It's defaulted to a daily chart, but the drop down does give you some options if we want to go intraday or take a little longer term look at it. If you prefer bar charts, very easy to switch. I know most of us these days, myself included, use candlesticks, but if you prefer bar, very easy to switch over. You can add an indicator or two if you would want to, but do be aware that those indicators don't save. So if you add, the ATR and then close the page, come back tomorrow, the ATR is not coming back with you. So before you, get too crazy with indicators, just be aware of that. You'll also have your prep tool right here where you can prep a longer or short position. So just for example, this is a little bit of a reversal candidate here. Let's say I wanted to get in at 50.77 and I've got a target price in mind of this resistance level up here at about $56. So let's just say that that's kind of what I'm looking at. I'm kind of thinking my stop loss, I'd like to put it, below 49. Let's just say that that's the number I've come up with. Well, this is going to let me know what this trade looks like, right? For every dollar I'm risking, I have $2.92 in potential profit. So pretty good on the risk to reward side of things. Maybe you think that that's too tight for a stop loss. You think it's got to be below today's low. Let you know that your risk to reward is $2.35 to 1. Maybe you like a tighter stop loss, but you think 56 is a little aggressive on the target. You're thinking 54 is a little more up your alley. So just really going to save you some time as you're prepping out those trades. At least saves me a ton of time not having to do that math. As traders, we want our trades to have good risk to reward ratios, right? And most of us employ the at least 2-to-1 ratio, right? If I'm risking $1, I need expectations that I can get 2 back. Most of us, implement rules of that nature. This really just saves us some time. A lot of other things you can do on there, but just a couple of the big ones. You can also just smack this widget button and that'll hide the watch list. So you have a little more chart to work with. You can wiggle the chart around, to get it sized however you'd like to do so by just kind of holding your left click down and doing this, zooming up, zooming down on your mouse wheel. So just a couple things that you can do in that. Just kind of circling back, really we want to make sure our team has some ideas. Just like anything, you'll like what you like and won't like what you don't like. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? If, you don't ever have to tell me or anybody else why you don't like KNX. Maybe you staying away from that space. Maybe you're already, into that space, enough. You don't need to add more positions to it. Maybe you just hate that company. Maybe, right? It's your trade, right? You don't have to tell anybody why you don't like it. But in my opinion, it's never about it's about what you like, right? Not what you don't like, right? And so you can kind of take the ideas and add the ones that you like to your watch list and wish everybody the best on the rest. And that's kind of how most of us use the reports, I think, each week. Again, we'll get these delivered to you by Saturday afternoon, so you have plenty of time to get through them before the market opens back up. As we get wrapping up here, as I mentioned earlier, the tackle today is our daily email. Just a quick thought going into the trading day, as well as the lineup and all the links for everything. Very easy to sign up for that in here if you would like to do so. You can also read it on this page. It will be delivered to your inbox faster, but you will be able to read it if you prefer to do so. Just click on the tackle today up at the top, and you could click on today's, and no big deal. At the end of the week, we do the Huddle Podcast, just a quick podcast talking about the top 10 stories in the market that week. Just quick, straight, and to the point, right? No opinion or anything like that. Just, what were the big things that happened in the market this week, right? You can catch that directly if you smack that link, right? That'll take you to the Huddle where you can listen to it. You can also catch it on any of your favorite podcast providers. That's at the end of the week. Each week, our friends over at tradingjustice.com put out the Trading Justice podcast. It's going to be a little more long form podcast. It's a really fun podcast, a lot of trading talk going on in there, a lot of fun, a lot of cool guests sharing their insights and analysis, a lot of great analysis from Coach Matt, Coach Mark, and Coach Tim, who bring that to us each week. You can find the Trading Justice podcast directly over at tradingjustice.com or any of your favorite podcast providers. There's also a very nice monthly newsletter that they do each month over on tradingjustice.com. Always very detailed and a very good read. Definitely worth checking that out. To our friends over at tradingjustice.com. We are active on all the different social media platforms: Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, right? So if you're using any of those platforms, I certainly extend an invitation to come join us on ours as well. Another great place that we can, interact with one another. On our YouTube channel, we are, probably best known for the live content that we do. We do a lot of live, streams, whether it's a halftime report, special webinars, trade master webinars, right? We do a lot of live content, but we have a lot of other content on our YouTube channel as well. And we're always thinking of new things that we can add to it. So we certainly would appreciate if you did hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. It certainly does help us within the YouTube algorithm, and hopefully it helps you be alerted anytime we've got something new going live. As we get wrapping up, one thing I always like to tell people is you can build your own tackle trading. We have more content than most people have time to go through each week. That's by design. It's okay that you're not in everything. We welcome you to join us in everything that we do. And believe me, we have members of our team that I never don't see, no matter what it is. They're in every single show, it seems. But that's okay if that's not you, right? And it's okay to build your own tackle trading. If you're a brand new trader, you might use it a little bit differently than somebody who's, been trading cash flow systems for the last decade, right? And that's okay, right? We can all build it the way that fits best into our personal trading journey. Don't be afraid to do just that. Don't be afraid to prioritize. As you kind of saw, most of the things that we're doing are recorded and archived and very easy to go check out a little down the road if it's a little too much too soon. So one thing I always like to suggest is, build your own tackle trading. A lot of ways to communicate with the team, whether it's in our lounges, in our YouTube chats, in our Discord, send us an email. So if you need something, never hesitate to lean on the team. Everybody here is on the same page. We all got each other's back. We all want to see each other succeed in the market. We'll all do our best to help each other achieve those goals. All right. And so lean on your team, get to know them. There's some great people here at Tackle Trading, great traders, but even better people, fun to spend the days with. That is for sure. As I let you get out of here this evening, just another quick reminder that here coming up in about 40 minutes, Coach Gino will be doing his special options webinar. You don't want to miss it. When Gino's talking options, it is a good time, lots to learn, should be a lot of fun. Very much looking forward to it. So hope to see you over there. If that's, hey, if it's getting to be bedtime or supper time, you can always, catch it on the replay, a little more convenient time, but definitely check it out. I think you'll very much enjoy it and learn a trick or two from the awesome Coach Gino Poor over there. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I'll let you get out of here today. Thank you so much for your time and welcome to Tackle Trading. If you ever need anything, reach out to us. Let us know. If you're not a pro member, we do have a standing offer of a free 15-day trial. You can find that information in the link of any of our YouTube videos or over in the store tab. We'd be happy to get you set up with a free trial. Come see what we're doing on the back end, see if it's a good fit. So do keep in mind that offer is open if and when you're ready to do so. If you're a new pro member, I welcome you to the team. I have no doubt I'll be seeing you around quite a bit in the different shows and Discord and all of that fun stuff. And I look forward to getting to know you. Ladies and gentlemen, get out of here. Enjoy the rest of your Monday night. Stay safe out in this market. Have a great week, both in and out of it. And I